Alrighty, peeps. Today we're going to explore how the life plan we assume for ourselves as LDS singles may not be the best one for us to have. Join the Journey Radio starts right now.
Maverick to range control. Entering Point Alpha. Confirm green range.
Maverick, range control. Green range is confirmed. I don't see an event scheduled for you, sir.
Well, I'm going anyway.
Nice.
I get all excited. I'm like JoJo, the idiot circus boy with a pretty new pet.
Excellent!
No different. Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
Are you mocking me?
We don't want you to get ruffled. Let's just say I was agreeing with you in a totally unusual way.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth.
You can't handle the truth!
Now, do you need me to elaborate? Or can we just crack on?
And here we go.
Hit it!
Welcome to the infusion of positive energy into the lives of single Latter-day Saints everywhere. This is Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, peeps, to another wonderful, splendiferous, joyous episode of Join the Journey Radio. I'm Lance, your host for Join the Journey Radio, and this is episode number 423. The plan is working. Actually, I don't know why I didn't even laugh after saying, because there's nothing evil about the plan working. I mean, it's just what it is, right? So if you're joining us for the live stream today, make sure to join the chat. Light up the chat. Tell us where you're from, where you're watching the program today. And if you're watching the program at a later date, why aren't you in the live stream? Come join the live stream. But if it is after the fact, you're too late. It's okay. You can still participate. Leave a comment down below the video. Let us know where you're from, and that will help us with the algorithms to push our content out to more and more Latter-day Saint singles everywhere. All right, peeps. Before we dive into the exciting episode we have planned for today, we need to take care of some housekeeping. I mentioned last week about how a necessary shift on the schedule prevented me from restarting book club last week. And I then announced that book club would restart today. Well, it seems that some of that shift in the schedule needed to go further than I anticipated originally. And as a result, the restart of book club will be put off until a future date. I don't know when that will be. Please don't kill me over it. I've been looking forward to book club coming back. But again, I don't know what it's going to be. I'll keep you peeps in the know. Stay tuned to our social media channels to get all the 411 when those deets become available. All right, peeps. For the program today, instead of book club, here's what we're going to do. We're going to be exploring a topic that troubles many LDS singles everywhere. And that topic deals with life plans. We have this life plan that our LDS subculture gives us, and many of us adopt that life plan under the assumption that it is correct. Now, I can hear some of you out there wondering, why wouldn't it be correct? Well, there is sometimes a difference between what the covenant and the commandments say and what the culture says. Note, I said we are handed our life plan from our culture. Certainly, our LDS subculture bears the brunt of that influence, but I would not discount any effect from the culture of the world. The influence the world plays upon the assumptions behind our thinking can be considerable, especially if we haven't completely learned how to be not of the world while still being in the world. And thus, we see many LDS singles coming home from a mission and struggling with a life plan that says the next step is to get married when they begin seeing the years go by and go by and go by, and there's no real feeling of progression towards completing that next step. LDS singles who then go into their 30s start becoming more and more anxious about the growing dissonance between the life plan that says they should be married and raising a family and the reality that looks very different from that life plan. And as that distance grows, so too does the intensity of feeling behind the questions of why life is not proceeding according to plan and what can be done to correct course. Now, having been single myself for the last 30 years and never married, I think about my life and how those decades have been filled with empty expectations of unrealized blessings of eternal companionship. I'm not the only one with that sort of experience. Many LDS singles have their own struggles with unrealized blessings of eternal companionship. If you were to tell them the Lord's plan for them is working, well, I'm sure many of them would disagree. One time, I was one of them. So yes, I'm pretty sure that a lot of them would disagree. So I was one of them. But that was because I had not yet removed a number of false assumptions behind my thinking. See, when you approach life with the right assumptions, you can ask, is the plan working? And know that it is. Now, increasingly, LDS singles aren't marrying at all, and those who do marry do so later. Thus, many LDS singles wonder how the plan of happiness can be working for them when they seem shut out from the blessings of happiness they desire. It can be easy to seem the plan isn't working when the righteous blessings we desire aren't coming when that life plan that our subculture handed us says that they should. And that's why it's important for us to recognize that everything our subculture hands us may not be the best for us. Embedded within that life plan to go on a mission and graduate from college and get married and raise a family is a set of assumptions that worked really well in my grandparents' generation, but times have changed, and those assumptions in that life plan don't always apply the way they once did. Now, let me be very clear here. I'm absolutely not normalizing singles life in any way. I'm not saying that intentionally choosing not to get married and not to have a family is an equally viable choice to getting married and raising a family. Getting married and raising a family is a part of the Lord's plan of happiness for his children. But that's one plan. There's really two plans we're talking about here. The first is God's plan of happiness for his children that spans eternity. The second is our own plan for our lives here in mortality. Since the intention of both of these plans is our own happiness, it can be easy to get them confused. And many LES singles, in fact, do confuse them because of faulty assumptions behind their thinking. The largest of these faulty assumptions is the idea that righteous blessings result from righteous behavior. The faulty connection assumed here provides particular challenge when the blessing sought is marriage, a blessing not predicated entirely or even largely on righteous behavior. Plenty of people with every variation in their extent of righteous living get married all the time. Right? So if you looked at it like a spectrum, you have people all along that spectrum, right? Of people who live very righteous lives and people who live very unrighteous lives. And you've got people all throughout that spectrum. And lots of people, every variation across that spectrum, there's people getting married. So clearly, righteousness has nothing to do with whether or not someone gets married. And yet, many LDS singles continue to assume the two are somehow connected, leading to confusion and an awful roller coaster ride of emotions as they continue to expect a righteous blessing to follow from their personal righteousness and continue not to see what they expect. Of course, those LDS singles can get off that emotional roller coaster ride by stepping outside of themselves and questioning the assumptions behind their thinking. I should have wrote my t-shirt. I have a t-shirt question everything. I should have worn my question everything t-shirt today. It would be perfect. Perfect, because that's exactly what you need to do. You need to question all the assumptions behind your thinking. Does the blessing of eternal marriage really come from personal righteousness alone? Those who pursue an answer with an honest desire to embrace truth will sooner or later come to the truth. which does not come from personal righteousness, but rather from being agreeable enough to someone who finds you agreeable enough and then crossing paths with that person. Personal righteousness could play a role, and for many LDS singles rightfully does, in determining what is agreeable enough, but it is not the sole determining factor. So once you replace a faulty assumption with a more effective one, you can then see how that will translate into the lived existence of LDS singles. They get off that emotional roller coaster of wondering why righteousness alone isn't enough, and they start focusing on fundamentals like becoming more agreeable, reducing their lists of must have qualities in a mate so more people become more agreeable to them, and expanding opportunities to cross paths with more people who share their goals in life. Of course, plenty of LDS singles don't practice the self awareness needed to get to that point. And for them, it's easy to turn tone deaf when they hear messages like this. Let us follow Peter's example of turning to the Savior during times of trouble. Follow Jesus Christ instead of relying on your own wisdom and strength. No matter how long you've been trying to tread water without him, it's never too late to reach out to him. The plan works. Now, that message in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with it in and of itself. But if you haven't been questioning your assumptions and still falsely assume righteousness leads to marriage, when you hear someone say something like, the plan works, you're likely to respond with something like, what are you doing? What the holy hell are you trying to honor my covenants? So of course I'm following Jesus, but I still don't have my desired blessings. So how can you say the plan works? Again, we're talking about two different plans here. Just because our plan for mortality isn't working doesn't mean God's plan for eternity isn't also. Few people address that distinction. Accordingly, it's very easy to offer people who feel the plan of happiness isn't working for them this solution. You just need to act in more faith. Turn to Jesus and humble yourselves. It's a great approach when you're talking about God's plan that spans eternity, but it offers little to those largely concerned with receiving a blessing in this life, especially when not all of us are on the same schedule for receiving the same blessings. So, is the plan working? Well, that depends on which plan you're talking about. If you're talking about the plan you make for yourself for happiness and mortality, it may not be working depending on your assumptions. But if you're talking about the plan God made for his children to be happy in eternity, then yes, that plan is working great, so long as we do what we can to make and keep every sacred covenant we can. At this juncture, let me offer a few words from my own experience because I have been single and never married for the last 30 plus years of my life. So, this topic of a life plan that may not necessarily be God's plan holds special interest for me. Some people are quick to say that when things don't work out for you, that is a sign that the thing you were trying to work wasn't for you, that God has a different plan for you. That may be true in some cases, but I don't think that is always true for everyone. For example, I wouldn't say that being single now is God's plan for me. I just don't feel that. I do feel that God's plan for me wasn't to get married right after coming home from my mission. So I was going to be single longer than the typical life plan our LDS single subculture hands us and says that I should be single for. I knew that that wasn't going to fit me, but I also feel that God never intended for me to be single as I have for as long as I have. I feel that He wanted me to be married years ago. And why is it that it didn't happen then? If that's what God wanted, why didn't it happen? At the time I was going through it, I couldn't understand it. Later, as I began to do the work involved in questioning my assumptions, grounding my thinking in the fundamentals of the dating journey, I began to see the real problem more clearly. Some willing candidates were simply not agreeable enough to me. And the ones who were agreeable enough to me did not find me agreeable enough. I mean, just go back to fundamentals. That's really what it is. Now, perhaps there was someone living somewhere, out there who was agreeable enough to me and who would find me agreeable enough. But if that's the case, we never cross paths. Now, all of that I can take back on me because I own my life. And owning your life means taking responsibility for absolutely everything that happens in your life, good or bad, your choice or not. And I did make choices here. I chose to base my thinking on assumptions handed to me by others. It wasn't necessarily a conscious choice, but it was a choice all the same. I chose to maintain a list of must have qualities in my conception of what constitutes a agreeable enough match. And looking back now with more reflection, I see that list may not have been as essential as I was, making the items on that list out to be. I chose where to live by the educational and job opportunities that I chased, by which I was, in effect, choosing which single Latter-day Saints would cross my path. Now, maybe if I'd made different choices, then my life today would be different. Maybe if I had questioned my assumptions on what is truly essential in a companion, some of the options I encountered that I considered not agreeable enough might actually have been agreeable enough. Maybe if I had questioned my assumptions and started focusing sooner on fundamentals, I might have been agreeable enough to more partners, right? Because when you focus on the fundamentals, you start making changes in you. Because you start understanding you got to make changes in you to make yourself more agreeable to somebody else. So maybe if I had, started focusing sooner on fundamentals, things might be different. Maybe if I had pursued other opportunities than I did and lived in different places because of it, maybe I would have crossed paths with someone who was always there but not available to me as an option because each of us just didn't know the other existed. There was one time in my life when I found someone agreeable enough to me who found me agreeable enough as well, and we were engaged to be married until the Lord told me to walk away. And so I made a choice, a very difficult and heartrending choice. I chose to walk away and stay single. Completely broke my heart and hers as well, but I couldn't ignore what I knew in my heart came from the Lord. And so my fiance became my ex-fiance, and I'm still single today as I am continuing to learn how to make more effective choices and continue to reach for the life that I want. Here's the bottom line, peeps. Our Heavenly Father has a plan of happiness for us, and in that plan, people make choices. We like to focus on the choices that lie outside our control in order to explain or make sense of why our life isn't what we think it should be, or why our life isn't what this life plan that we've inherited from our subculture says it should be. But just because life isn't unfolding according to your plan doesn't mean God's plan isn't working. His plan is working because his plan is for you to have agency, and you can use that agency to make different choices and get different results in life. One important choice we have discussed in this episode of Join the Journey Radio is for you to question your assumptions and get clear about distinguishing between God's plan for life in eternity and your plan for life in this world. When you do, you can feel better the power of perspective, helping you to let go of everything that's holding you back from enjoying each moment, irrespective of your circumstances. That power of perspective can help you make other choices more effectively, such as adopting a personal ministry and partnering with the Lord, that can then help you move closer to your best life. And that will bring you more joy in your journey. Well, peeps, that's all we have for this episode of Join the Journey Radio. Thanks to all of you for joining in today. Let's check the chat and see if anyone left anything in the chat. And I'm not seeing anything in the chat. So if you have something you'd like to say about the episode today, please, scroll down below the video, leave a comment down there below. If you have a topic or question that you would like us to see addressed in a future episode of Join the Journey Radio, we're happy to help as we can. Please leave a comment down below. And if there's something that we can do to help you overcome the challenges of LDS singles life, yep, you got it. Leave a comment down below. Alternatively, you could also go to the contact page on our website, jointhejourneyradio.com, which you can visit. Yes, visit our website at jointhejourneyradio.com. And there, you'll find a contact page. Go to the contact page, and on the contact page, there's a form you can fill out to reach out to us, and we'll get back to you as soon as we are able to do so. And so, there you go. Lots of ways to get a hold of us. And we try to be as helpful as we can. So hopefully the content we're producing will help Latter-day Saint singles everywhere, because that's exactly what our intention is. So that's all we have for our Join the Journey Radio today. Thank you again, everyone, for participating. Remember to like, share, subscribe our content. Help us, get those algorithms going to push our content out to more people, so more and more people can be helped and blessed in their lives, learn to thrive in their single years. And so until next time, this is your host reminding you there is joy to be had all along your journey. Take that joy and journey on.
You and I have witnessed many things, but nothing as bodacious as what just happened.
Check it out. Look at, I'm in really bad shape. Come on, please, please.
Bob.
Give me. I need.
My God, pull yourself together!
I get to lay in a bed by myself all of my life. It's fantastic.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Wait till I get going.
Where was I?
Suck it!
Run away!
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
Think it'll work?
It would take a miracle.
Goodbye.
Yeah, we did it. Come on, give me some. Give me some of that. Yeah. Woohoo! I will see you cats on the flip-flop later.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.